Let's start with the whole top 100 women in tech award, which I won last year. And honestly, I do not feel like I deserve it, to the point that I never speak about it. So if someone introduces me, I never bring it up. But if someone even acknowledges it and be like, hey, you won top 100 women in tech, I'm just like, yep. I kind of just pass it off to dumb luck. And I feel like I've kind of winged getting the award. So it's the exact same feeling I felt when I got into Imperial, which I still think I fluked, by the way. Whenever someone asked me, how did you get into Imperial, which at that time was the second best university in the world, I literally used to say, I think I got in because they had a female quota and they needed to meet the female quota with me. How derogatory is that? But actually there was a reason I got in. There was a reason I got recognized getting the award, and some of the judges must have thought that actually, hey, she actually deserves the award, even if I don't see it myself. So I think that's the first thing I would say, is that if you want to manage imposter syndrome, try and get someone with an objective view to stroke your ego, to give you really an objective view, to tell you if you can do it, if you can't do it. And that's something I really wish I did when I was applying to consulting firms post-university. I really regret this. There were consulting firms I didn't even apply to because I didn't think I could get in, because I would never be as prepared as some of the people who got in, or I'd just never be as good as some of the people who are applying, which is utter BS. It's funny because to gain skills and knowledge, we feel like we need to be perfect at being skilled and knowledge, and it's this never-ending trap. And honestly, what would have been the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario is me getting a no, me maybe crying for a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and eventually getting over it. But I think it's actually worse not having done it in the first place and feeling this regret. So I don't want any of you to feel like this. So my second thing I would definitely say is that identify the fear that you're feeling, don't give in to the fear that you're feeling, and use it as an opportunity. I mean, imposter syndrome is kind of a fancy word for insecurities. I kind of see it a little bit like kissing someone for the first time. We kind of big it up in our head. It's really, really scary the first time you do it, right? But the second time gets easier, and the third time is easier and easier, right? The more you do it, the easier it gets. So, you know, the first time is always the biggest obstacle, in my opinion. It's funny because the word syndrome makes it sound like some sort of disease when it actually isn't, in my opinion. I actually see it as a really good thing, because whenever you're feeling uncomfortable, you are growing. It's like going to the gym. Whenever you're training your muscles, you come back and it hurts like hell, but it means you're basically growing your muscles and you're repairing, and it's kind of what's happening to your brain in a way. And if you want to skip the science lesson now about our brains, skip it, but the geek in us will love it, I promise you. The oldest parts of our brain, the limbic system, have yet to evolve from the days when we were predators, and this part of the brain generates the flight or fight response, and once it's activated, we don't overcome the feeling until the perceived threat is gone. So which may take a long time when it comes to the situations we're put in terms of imposter syndrome. And most of us won't even run from a lion because we'll probably feel like, what's the point? And it's the same thing that happens when our brain uses extra calories to try something new. And instead of running, our brain kind of makes us feel like we're not worthy. So blame it on the limbic system. But I definitely do not feel worthy anytime I walk into a meeting, when usually I am the youngest person in the room or with the least experience, and I kind of just ask myself, Kajol, what the hell are you doing in this room? Why are you even in this meeting? The many mysteries of life. And it kind of got me thinking about, when do I actually feel like I can voice my own opinion? When do I feel like I'm in a safe space? So I take social media, for instance. When Black Lives Matter, the farmers' protest happened, only then did I feel like I could voice my opinion, because other people were feeling the exact same way that I did. I got validation that my thoughts were correct, or my thoughts were right, and other people were feeling the same way, and hence then did I voice my opinion. So when we feel like we're not surrounded by people who are like-minded to us, who may not have the same knowledge, skill, or way of thinking that we do sometimes feel like imposters, and we don't show ourselves, we don't show who we really are. Same thing when I'm starting a new project, because often in consulting what happens is that you jump onto a new project, it's a new problem, you have never really solved it before, and you need to quickly upskill. So the client, on the other hand, has spent like 18 to 20 years doing this day in and day out. So I get really worried I'm gonna get called out by them, and that's because I'm not really an expert in the subject, and you know, they definitely know more than I do. So I feel like I shouldn't be the one talking to them about it. Well, Tim Ferriss says that if you read at least 3 books, you are going to be 95% more knowledgeable compared to the other people out there. And I actually spoke to my director about this because I was like, hey, I actually feel like this. And my director was like, I feel the same way. And I was so shocked, so surprised because, you know, even my directors and partners who have 18 to 20 years, they still feel like this. And it kind of shows that, you know, this feeling never goes away. Yup, no matter how much experience we get in life, we will always feel like this. And I think this is the third way to manage imposter syndrome, is that we need to embrace this feeling because we are always going to feel like this, and understand that actually success isn't linked to feeling like we've got our shit together and we're feeling like a boss. So we all really need to learn to manage it. And the fourth way, which has really helped me, and all you need is a pen, a paper, and a little bit of honesty, and just answer 5 questions. Firstly, what am I feeling? Secondly, what am I really afraid of and why? And these two should come from the heart on how you legitimately feel deep down. And as you can see, these two kind of focus on the feeling of inadequacy and why we are feeling it. And the next 3 is all about changing this feeling and overcoming it. And thirdly, what have I done so far which proves that I should be feeling this way? And what also have I done which proves that I'm capable of doing this and shouldn't be feeling this way? Next, what do I need to do or learn so I don't feel this way? And lastly, how am I actually going to learn the skill, and what plan am I going to do to plug the gap? And this, in my opinion, is the most important question out of all of these 5. Basically, you want to identify all the skills to make you feel awesome and confident so that you can be the boss that you're always meant to be. And let me just apply these 5 questions to the previous example of me starting a new project. What am I feeling? I'm feeling scared. What am I really afraid of? Well, I'm really afraid of looking dumb, ruining my personal brand, showing to my boss that I don't know my stuff, and even showing to the client that. And I don't want them to realize that I'm faking it till I make it. What have I done so far which proves I'm capable of doing this? Nothing. Why am I not capable of doing this? Well, I don't think I've ever led this type of project by myself. I've never really had e-commerce experience in this way. This requires some knowledge of technical architecture if I want to do some of the business side of it, because I need to know it to be able to deliver the product really successfully. So what do I need to do? I need to learn the basics of technical architecture. I need to be able to get some project management experience as well. So what can I do to actually plug this gap? Well, I could do some courses, and I could also talk to some people to help me. And then, you know what? I'm gonna do that. So make a plan and track your successes, because whenever you feel like you don't deserve something, you can always empty this cookie jar where you've written all your notes down and literally read through all the accomplishments that you make, and bam, you will feel like you are bossing. You can do anything and accomplish anything in the world, except maybe make Hrithik Roshan my husband. Whenever I now feel the feeling of imposter syndrome, I ask myself this one question: do I really want it badly enough, or do I just want to give into the notion that I don't deserve it? And at this point in my life, I'm in like my 20s, I can't just wait for it. If I want it, I am going to do it. And I feel like this has kind of been like group therapy, except I'm the only one talking. So if you want to share your stories of when you felt like an imposter, or even maybe how you've overcome it, let me know in the comments below. I think you'll be helping everyone else who's watched this as well. So sharing is caring. And you know what? Thank you for watching. Really humble that you've listened to me so far, and I will see you next week.